You deserve to know who you can become, and you deserve to embody what you can create right now in this lifetime. Hello, my name is Jenna, and on this fine day of a lunar eclipse in Pisces, I'm here to talk to you about a closing because this eclipse is all about a chapter closing. It's things coming to a head, to a culmination point. And a lot of that involves maybe something that you need to leave behind so that you can see who you can become. So, we're going to go over it all. We're going to go over what leaving might look like. We're going to go over what I've found in this 2 year period because I left something, and just cover how powerful you actually are and how you need to know before you die. And the world needs to know who you came here to be before you die. And so let me begin by saying that leaving is always worth it. If you are in a toxic job, a toxic relationship, a toxic group, a toxic religious organization, you can probably think of a million reasons why you should stay. And most of those reasons are probably fear-based, right? If I leave this marriage, what about money? What about this home I've built? If I leave this job, what about the stability that I've accrued? What about this connection that I have? If I can't leave this religion, it's been in my family for generations. If I don't have this structure, what am I going to have? The more that I age, the more that I find that a lot of people are afraid. They are afraid to leave things that are harmful for them because of the risk, because of what they could lose. And often that's the reason that they stay, even if they're slowly dying inside, even if some of their most important connections to others have been severed because they've been stuck in certain situations. They're afraid. They don't want to leave because they're afraid. And I can understand. We as human beings are wired to survive. And so leaving the shelters we've built is terrifying. Leaving the connections that we've invested our time and energy into, even if they're no longer good for us, it can be scary to sever that. I understand we're wired to avoid risk, yet risk is the very thing that will bring us into our most authentic, powerful selves. Anybody who's ever made it in this world, and I mean, you know, as a musician, as some kind of new architect, as a leader, like a good leader, like somebody who actually made positive change, they took a risk. Brene Brown talks all about it in her work. She talks about how there really is no bravery without vulnerability. You can't be brave without being vulnerable. To have courage is to take a risk. It's to put something on the line, your emotions, your finances, your sense of certainty, your sense of reality. You can't be brave unless you're vulnerable. I think our country, our world could be a lot healthier if people were willing to leave the structures they were conditioned to believe in. And I mean, leave unhealthy marriages, leave maybe some religious structures that are doing more harm than good, leave jobs that they were wired to accept and take because that was just the next thing that you did. We in the United States are very much conditioned to put faith in our structures. And as we can see now, maybe more clearly than ever, although our structures have been failing people in this country since its existence, we're seeing now more than ever, or maybe the privileged are seeing now more than ever, that the structures we have cannot support us. We do not live in a safe and equal country if it is not safe and equal for everyone. And I think it's fair to say that this country is not safe or equal for everyone. And the way that we're going to heal it is not to look to the existing structures, it's to look to ourselves because the existing structures have failed us. And I'm going to share an unpopular opinion. I don't care how good these new candidates claim to be or what party they're a part of. They're not going to fix everything overnight. And at the end of the day, they are a part of a failing system. We have to get creative about the new things that we can build right now. And yes, we do need you. And you might have to make some hard decisions because when you come into who you really are and you find your power, you remember why you came to this earth and the remarkable work that you are here to do. You're not just healing yourself, you're not just bettering yourself and those you love, you are bettering the collective because, my friends, we are actually all connected. We are influential to all of our energy. We are. And I can tell you directly from my work, any problem that I've ever had as an individual or any problem that my family has ever had, I couldn't help but see a systemic connection to. Because many of us are struggling with the same things related to safety and access to resources and access to just who we are because we've been conditioned for so long to be a machine that plays a role in an unhealthy marriage, a machine that plays a role in a corporate structure that doesn't give a shit about us, a machine that plays a role in an institution, a machine that's taught that they don't have any divinity, that they're just an empty robot dependent on external structures, whether that's a god, a job, or the conditioned idea of what a stereotypical family looks like. We're conditioned to believe that we have to rely on these things, that we in ourselves are not enough light, that we don't carry gifts inside of us. And the reality is, yeah, we need each other. Yeah, we do need structures, but we need healthy ones. We need communal ones. We need ones that are built with a community mindset there. We do need each other, but not these structures, not these empty, hollow, lie-ridden, things that have been built for a few at the top. We need actual community. This lunar eclipse in Pisces is about closing a 2-year chapter, something that began in September of 2024. So, because that's when the cycle of eclipses began. And this is, well, the eclipse cycle is what I learned about on Chani. My insights right now are my own, but the eclipse information is something I learned from Chani Nicholas. So we're closing a chapter. So think about what began in September of 2024. There's something that began then that's closing now. There's something that you need to leave behind. And I need you to hold on to your courage just 5% more than your fear, because we're always afraid. Those who are brave are afraid. It doesn't mean we need to eliminate our fear. It means we have to just do the thing anyway. I talk a lot about the harm that my job did to me. I talk a lot about just how corrupt it was, but I don't, and I've touched on, what I've discovered since I quit, which interestingly enough, I quit close to the time that this eclipse cycle began, and now it's closing. So right along with you, I'm reflecting on what's happened to me over the last 2 years and what's coming to a close. And my friends, when I quit my job, I didn't have a plan. I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. I knew it was going to kill me because it was so out of line with my values of safety and creativity and learning. It was not aligning, and I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, I walked out on a Monday. I had no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do next. I didn't know where my income was going to come from next. I didn't know. I mean, I was frustrated because, like you, I invested in this. I spent $80,000 to be educated to be a teacher. I spent money on an education to become a teacher. I had 11 years worth of a career as a teacher. I finally had things like tenure. I had some security. I was making a decent salary for a teacher. I had invested in it, just like there's something that you have invested in. And it's hard to walk away from that. And I had doubts. It's like, wait, I finally made it this far into my career. What am I doing? I didn't know how I was going to make money next. I didn't know what the next steps were going to be, but I just knew I had to get out. You might be at that point today. You might know that it's time for you to get out. And I can't encourage you enough to do it. You know, if that's you today, if you need to quit, quit. If you need to file for that divorce, file for that divorce. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you've invested in it. You know, in your heart, ask yourself right now, is it right for me to stay in this marriage? Is it the right thing for me to stay at this job? Is it a right thing for me to continue to serve this religion? Whatever the answer is, should have just come to you because you know. You know. You might have just been ignoring yourself. Here's the thing, my friends. The unknown doesn't have to be so scary. It is, but guess what? If we flip or deconstruct this concept of the unknown, we can look at it as, oh, there's possibilities. When we don't know, that means there's new and amazing possibilities that we haven't considered yet. I'm going to say that again. The unknown contains new and amazing possibilities that we have not considered yet. The unknown can be scary, but it also holds unlimited potential. What you don't know could be the greatest version of yourself, and you deserve to meet that person, and the world needs that person. Please don't think that you can skate through life pretending that you can settle in that marriage, that you can settle in that job, that you can settle into that religion that you don't really believe in, and it won't have any impact on anyone else. Yes, it will, because your very powerful soul incarnated into this body to do something. You were meant to rise, to help the collective too. You were meant to play an important role in a safe and equal and creative society. You came here for that. And the world needs you. But we can't meet you if you're just going to stay behind the mask. I can tell you, when I quit my job, it was not easy. I faced a lot of unknowns, but I would do it over again. 500 times I would do it over again with all this uncertainty because of who I got to know, and that's me. I never would have created the stories that I created. I never would have been sitting here talking to you, ever. I never would have had the opportunity to interact with so many of you beautiful souls across this whole world, across this country. I never would have had that opportunity. I never would have been able to really dive in to the stories of these remarkable people. I have studied so much over the last 2 years. I've read the wisdom and listened to the wisdom of some of the greatest minds of our time and before our time. I have gotten to know spirits. I have gotten to know just how magical life actually is. I've gotten to know the trees outside my house and the hummingbirds and the flowers. I've remembered nature. I've remembered my role. Quitting helped me remember who I am and why I came here. And I tell my family, although I'm still waiting for some external situations to align with my dreams, I tell my family when I get together at gatherings, I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in the way inside anymore. There's no internal obstacles, meaning because of these risks that I took, because I walked away, there's nothing inside me anymore telling me I can't. Because I've given myself the respect. This is what true self-love is. It's giving yourself the space to discover who you are. And my friends, I have 6 kids, okay? I didn't do this by quitting and going on some 2-year trek across the Himalayas, okay? That maybe would be fun. I don't know. But this is for all of you out there who have responsibilities, okay? You can access who you are even with your responsibilities. The biggest step is unplugging from the thing that's killing you. True death is not when we die. It's plugging into a machine and letting that machine drain our energy. It's time for a chapter in your life to close. The unknown holds possibilities. Don't be afraid anymore. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I've had some hard times. Yeah, there's been moments where the fear has gotten me for a day, where I just worry about all that could happen. I worry about, you know, the unknown. I worry about supporting my family. I worry about what's next. I've been uncomfortable. I've outgrown my environment and I've been uncomfortable for the last couple of years. I've been like, "Oh God, I don't fit here anymore." And that's great because it means I'm preparing for something better. And even if I'm afraid for a day, even if I have anxiety consume me for a day, that doesn't mean that I've given up. Your fear will never fully leave you. You just have to kind of go, you have to be willing to have some bad days. You have to be willing to go, yep, today the fear got me. And you have to have people in your corner who believe in you, even if it's just one person. Because on the days where I was like, shit, we're fucked, man. There's no way this is going to work out. This sucks. My husband was right there telling me that he saw his hero down. He calls me his hero, which is an amazing compliment. I've never been called someone's hero before, at least to my face, but that was a huge compliment. And even just hearing him say his hero's down reminded me that I'm his hero. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm down, but I'm still his hero. I can get back up. I'm the hero. It's very hard to connect to the people who support you when you're still being drained by the ones who don't. And if you can't think of one person right now who would support you, well, that person is you. Don't underestimate your own power. And once you start to unplug from the people and structures that are draining you, you are making space for the people who will support you. So even if you can't think of someone today who would support you quitting your job or starting that art project or whatever the hell it is that you know you need to do, you will draw those people to you. Taking the first step of unplugging from the people who are draining you is also a step towards the people who will support you. So if you're sitting here thinking, Jenna, I don't have a partner like you, just fuck off, like I don't have that. Okay, fine. Like I didn't always have that either. Like I get it. But I do know that when you unplug, no matter if you have the partner you want or the friend you want or whatever it is, you will make space in your life for the people who can support you as you need. Because I quit my job, I gave myself the space to learn who I was, to learn what I was capable of. And you know what that means? Like, it means that I just started listening to myself. Like, that's actually it. Like, I quit because there was this voice inside screaming, you can't do this anymore. You can't do this. You can't do this. And I held on longer than I should have because I felt like quitting would make me weak, because I was afraid of where money would come from. And I held on too long, but not forever. I did listen. So unplugging, quitting doesn't make you weak. It actually is bravery to walk away from something that's draining you because you are taking a risk. But on the other side of that risk is everything you were meant to be. I remembered myself because I started listening to myself again. I started listening to that voice. I didn't dismiss it. And I started paying attention to the things I always loved, which were reading. I've always had an affinity for books. And for me, that was how I rediscovered the wisdom that I needed. So I quit and I devoted more time to reading, to studying the great minds of our time and of before our time. I listened to podcasts just like you right now. Thank you for listening. I started, I stopped listening to gossip radio and started listening to wisdom-based podcasts. And through this process, I slowly came back to myself. And because I didn't have the corrupt structure that I was working for draining me anymore, I could start to actually step into who I was. And then it was like door after door opened. Someone told me I was a psychic. Okay, well, that opened the door to me meeting more psychics, to me meeting shamans, to me reading books written by psychics, to me going to Arizona and meeting one of the most powerful spirits I've ever met before. Door after door opened, and that is exactly what will happen for you. when you quit, when you walk away from that thing that's been draining you. It will not be easy. You will have days like I've had where the fear gets the best of you, but it's worth it. I don't doubt who I am anymore. I know who I am, and I know what I was here to do, and I can experience the freedom of remembering. You deserve your freedom. You deserve to remember who you are and what you came here for. And so, as this eclipse cycle comes to a close this very night, August 27th, 2026, I am reflecting on all the beautiful things I have created over the last 2 years, including this podcast, including all of the stories and poetry that I have been able to write. And guess what? I don't know their full purpose yet. That's the thing about making something new. You have to be okay with not knowing what something's purpose is. Because if you are making something new, it won't reveal itself fully yet. It will unfold over time. All of the most beautiful, innovative creations that we've had as a humanity have been something that have unfolded over time. Anybody who's ever created something didn't know its full value as they were making it. They just knew they had to make it. So, whatever it is that you need to make, just start making it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to plot it out. You don't have to have an outline. Okay. As a former English teacher, I can tell you, you don't need an outline. You just need your voice. You just need to start and be okay with the fact that you might not know something's purpose, and accept the fact that whatever you're creating is a part of you. And as you make it, you will get to know yourself better. As I wrote the stories that I wrote over the last 2 years, and as I've been speaking to you on this podcast, I've learned about myself. We teach what we most need to learn. We make what we most need to believe. Okay? So, as you're creating, as you're stepping into the thing that's been whispering to you, or maybe even screaming at you, who are you? What is it telling you about yourself? Because the things we make are a reflection of who we are. They're a reflection of our light. Think about that. This night of the full moon and the eclipse is the perfect time to think about that. The moon reflects the sun. So, what are you making and how is it reflecting who you are? You will learn more about who you are as you make things because they're a reflection of who you are. And this is why we have to stop making so many things for these corrupt structures because they'll never be reflected back to us if we're making them for a machine. We need to make things that are just as much about self-love as they are about extending love to the universe. The unknown holds possibilities. And tonight, as we close a chapter, think about who or what do you need to leave? Think about just for a second what it would feel like to be totally free, to be who you are. Think about how it would feel to look back on your life and go, yeah, I made it. I did the thing. I had some scary moments, but I'm so glad I took that risk because if I hadn't, who would I be? Sometimes I think about who I would be if I was still locked into some of the unhealthy things that I was locked into before. I don't want to know, to tell you the truth. I don't want to know who I would be if I was still working a job that was killing me, if I was still in a relationship that I was doing just for appearances or because somebody told me it was the next thing that I should do. I don't want to know because that person would probably be pretty numb and pretty miserable and pretty destructive. You deserve to know who you are. And the world, more than ever, needs your gifts. This is a wild time of change where the creators, the innovators are the ones who are going to actually build a safe and equal world because we have to get creative. This is an invitation. We can clearly see the structures that we have are crumbling. They are not serving the people. They're falling. It's time for us to make something new. And yes, that starts with you leaving the old. And I don't give a shit how old you are. Are you still alive? Great. Then it's not too late. No matter your age, no matter your place in life, no matter what unknown you're afraid of, remember that the unknown also holds new possibilities that you never could have imagined, but you will be so grateful that you found. Happy lunar eclipse. Please share this episode with someone who needs it. And frankly, I'm excited to meet you someday. I'm excited to see who you rise up and become. Because I know you're out there. I know that I'm speaking to someone who's ready. And that's why you found this today. I can't wait to find out what you're going to make. But in the meantime, thanks for coming.